fasting, not every day, but doing every other day. Is this okay? Yes. That's called the fast of Prophet Dawood, who is one of the prophets of Allah, the fast of David. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said one of the most beloved fasts to Allah, in fact, the most beloved fast to Allah is the fast of Prophet David. He used to fast every other day. So since this is the beginning of Shaban, yes, you can fast every other day just to prepare yourself. But after the 15th of this month, I don't want you doing no fasting, because you do not want to spend the entire month fasting, because what's going to happen? Ramadan will be here in a blink of an eye. You ain't got but a couple more weeks before Ramadan. And then when Ramadan comes, you're going to be burnt out. You're going to be too exhausted, too tired. And then all this preparation was for nothing, because Allah does not accept any of our voluntary deeds if we don't fulfill the obligations. Okay? So don't overdo it. Don't get just do a couple of days here and there. And that's it. Because I'm going to be honest. The best way to prepare yourself for Ramadan is to prepare yourself spiritually. What I would suggest you women do is start cleaning up your houses. That's what I've been doing. Y'all know every day I'm doing a little bit here, doing a little bit there. I got to get those bad grandkids over here to do my closets for me. My closets. I got 2 walk-in closets and it's clothes all over the place. You wouldn't believe that I'm a neat freak when you look in my closets, because it's ridiculous. But one of the best ways to prepare for Ramadan is to clean up your house, because you want to attract the angels of mercy during that month. And the angels of mercy do not come to a junky house. They don't come to a nasty house. They don't come to a stinky house. They don't come to a clustered house. So if you want to prepare for Ramadan, do your Ramadan cleaning, your spring Ramadan cleaning. Clean your house up. Clean the kids' bedrooms up. Clean out that basement. Clean out the attic. Get that stuff off the floor in the living room. Wash those dirty clothes that's been sitting in that basement. I mean, that's what you do. Okay, make your environment one that is spiritual, that will spiritually attract the angels and not the jinn. The jinn like clutter, filth, and all of that. Okay? Okay, here's it. Okay, go ahead.
Have a question in the Zoom and then also YouTube. So in Zoom, I like watching AI movies made about presidents making a tier list, which means they rank things. Is this okay for me to watch?
What's the A-list? What?
I like watching AI made videos about presidents making a tier list, which means they rank things. Is this okay for me to watch?
Okay, that has nothing to do with Islam. I don't even know what it is. You know, as long as it doesn't contain sex, drugs, rock and roll, or anything haram, it's lawful. Television is not haram. It's what you watch on it that makes it haram for you. If you're watching pornography and sex, drugs, rock and roll, stuff that's going to cause you to commit a sin, stay away from it. Okay, because, and that's all I can tell you on that. I mean, Allah doesn't talk about AI or none of that other stuff. Just long as you're not watching anything that contradicts the laws of Allah, anything that makes fun of this religion, anything that mocks Allah, His Prophet, His angels, His deen, and as long as what you're watching is not containing haram, then it's good and clean. And Allah knows best.
The next question is, were all the prophets and messengers jinns made Muslims, or just the Prophet Muhammad?
And this is a good question, and you can tell that this is from a new shahada. This has to be a new shahada. Okay, Allah is clear in the Quran. First of all, the word Muslim Muslim is not a religion. Okay? Muslim is an Arabic word. What does it mean? It means a person who submits to Allah, the creator. That's what Muslim means. A person who submits himself to Allah. All the prophets of Allah submitted to him. That's why they were prophets. If they did not submit to him, they weren't a prophet. Okay? And Adam was the first prophet and he submitted to Allah. Moses submitted to Allah. Abraham submitted to Allah. They had to submit to Allah to carry out his command. And that's why Allah tells us in the Quran, Jesus was not a Jew. Moses was not a Jew. Jesus was Muslim. He was a person who submitted to me. Moses was a person who submitted to me. Solomon was a person that submitted to me. That's what Muslim means in English. It means one who submits to Allah. So all the prophets and all the messengers were Muslim. If they were not Muslim, they wouldn't be nothing. They would be just denizens of the hell with Iblis. Now, what is about this part of your question you ask about the jinns? What are you asking about the jinns? The jinns were not prophets. And the jinns were not messengers. So what do you mean about the jinn? Oh, I see his question. Now I'm reading. I was listening to you where they all, okay, let me read this over. Oh, okay, this is a totally different question. He's asking, were the prophets jinns made Muslim or just Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The prophets jinns were Muslim. They had to be. That's what makes the prophets better than us. They were the best of this creation. Prophet Moses was a Muslim. How could he submit to Allah if his jinn was tempting him away? Jesus was a Muslim. How could he submit to Allah if his jinn was tempting him away? Abraham, all the prophets were Muslim and their jinns were too. Everybody understand that? That's a good question. And by the way, I'm going to cover that when I do this series on the jinn. But all the prophets of Allah were in total submission to him. They are the best of mankind. All the prophets will be in paradise. Their jinns were Muslim. They didn't give in to desires. That's why they'll all be in paradise. Okay, and Allah knows best. Go ahead.
The next question is how to deal with bad misconceptions about Islam while giving dawah.
Okay, if you don't know how to deal with bad misconceptions about Islam, you ain't qualified to give dawah. In fact, it's haram for you to give dawah. First of all, I want you guys to know dawah is from your actions, not your mouth. Not everybody is qualified to open their mouth and speak. Remember, one of the number one reasons why the people will be in hell is because they spoke wrong. So if you don't know how to deal or how to answer the questions about the bad misconceptions about Islam, you should never, ever, ever, ever put yourself in a situation to open your mouth and talk about Islam. Remember, where's my dalil? Allah says in the Quran, of all the things he hates, the thing he hates the most is for people to speak about him or speak about his religion without knowledge. Does everybody understand that? Everybody wants to be a scholar. How can you be a scholar if you ain't studied the religion? Everybody wants to be a caller. How can you call when you don't even know how to communicate? True dawah is from your actions. The simple fact that you treat everybody with respect, that's dawah. You ain't got to talk. The fact that you respect your parents, you respect your siblings, you're kind to your neighbors, that's the type of dawah you should be doing. But as far as opening your mouth, you better keep it shut because you ain't qualified. And you will end up causing more harm than good, and you will end up being one of the denizens of the hellfire. And Allah knows best. Everybody understand that? That's a very good question. That's just like the question somebody asked in Brother Yusuf's class. If you don't know how to deal with situations, why are you involved in that? No, we don't do that. That's not Islam. If you ain't qualified, leave it to the people who are. There are people who are qualified to give dawah. Let them do the work, and you just give the dawah from your actions and not your tongue. Allah knows best. Okay, Sister Muslima, then don't talk about Islam. Don't do nothing. When people come to you, send them to the people of knowledge. Do like the sisters on my website do. Do like Anissa does. When people come to Anissa asking her about Islam, she says, here, let me give you this woman named Laila Nasheed. Here's her website. Go there and ask her. Like the people that you see here that are asking me questions, they were sent here by other people. Sister Muslima, she's got a whole list of questions for me from the sisters in her mosque. So if you ain't qualified, don't talk. Just send them to the people that are. Allah says, ask the people of knowledge, because this is a big problem today. People misleading everyone, telling people things are lawful that are not, telling people things are haram that are not, running people away from Islam, making people think that Islam is oppressive when it's not. Allah knows best. Okay, so the Muslima, I'm looking on the my telephone. I can see some of the typing. You want me to start with that first one there from the sisters at your mosque? Okay, here's a question from one of the sisters in Atlanta. I ain't gonna give y'all the name of the mosque, but they're in Atlanta. Atlanta. Say hello to Tip. Tip and Tiny. I heard their restaurant is good. They got good food. All right. She says, one of the sisters in the community asked this. She says, Sister Laila, I was told for most of my Muslim life that it is haram for me as a Muslim woman to wear bright colors and decorations on my abaya and my hijab. She said, one of the things that attract me to you is that you look so nice on camera and you're covered so perfectly, mashallah. She said, so tell me, have I been misled? Is there anything in the Quran that says we as Muslim women cannot wear bright colors? Or what is this, embezzlement? Now you're type. See, this is what happens, my type. But I know what she's asking. Embellishments, okay. All right. Again, guys, whenever someone tells you that something is haram, be it me or anyone, we have to bring the clear nas or the clear verse that says the women of this nation shall not wear embellishments. The women of this nation shall not wear bright colors. Okay? If there's no such verse in the Quran, there's no such hadith, which there is none. I can tell you guys, there is no such verse. There is no such hadith. The Prophet's wives wore bright colors. Where's the Dalil? Atiyah. Atiyah, learn about her story. Atiyah was one of the original companions And what's the source of this hadith? Sahih Bukhari. He said, we women, we never wore dark colors. We never wore dark colors unless someone died. And then if someone died, we would wear dark colors and we would remove our makeup. That's also the dalil, that they wore makeup. Makeup ain't haram. If someone died, we would remove our, we would wear dark colors and remove our makeup and our jewelry. That shows they wore jewelry too. We would remove our makeup and our jewelry, and we would not wear them until after the mourning period. Okay, so the Prophet's wives and the female companions wore jewelry, they wore makeup, they wore bright colors. Allah doesn't make any of this haram. And by the way, thank you for your compliment. And by the way, this is just simple stuff I wear. $12 a house dress off of Amazon. Oh yeah, you can get this. This is a house dress that I bought off of Amazon for $12.
Sister Laila.
So again, you know, so be careful of the people telling you that things are haram and they have no evidence to support it. And that's what we talked about in our earlier class today. A lot of people, like Allah says in the Quran, you want to deny the truth because it makes no sense to you. Most men can't understand why Allah would make it lawful for a woman to be pretty and then tell him that the greatest temptation for him is a woman. So men think that women are supposed to be ugly and just be sex fiends for them at night. I don't know. It's ignorance.
That's a culture.
Yeah. You've been Muslim most of your life. Just be careful. Now that you know that it ain't haram, the next time somebody
I think she walked away from her computer. You may have to call her phone.
And Allah knows best. Okay, we got some questions here. Sister Sarah Ramos, mashallah, wa alaikum salam, Sarah. She said a man, oh, okay, I got it. A man and a woman were married for a few months, but never consummated the marriage. Okay. That's okay, that's fine. He divorced her after a few months, and she did not observe the waiting period. What does Islam say about this situation? Okay, what is the purpose of the waiting period? The purpose of the waiting period is to assure, first of all, that the woman is not pregnant, but also he divorced her. In Islam, a man can divorce his wife and take her back. He has 2 times that he can divorce a woman and take her back. So she did a bad thing. What if he wanted to take her back? We have to follow the laws of Islam. Okay? This is a situation, Sister Sarah, that I would suggest that.
Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Adly. How are you?
How are you?
I'm doing fine. 2 things. First of all, I'm doing my Islam Q&A live show. And this is a question, and I really prefer a man like you, a sheikh like you, to answer it, because I know it's a serious problem with these new shahadas. A sister got married. Her and a man were married for a few months, but they never consummated the marriage. He divorced her, but she did not wait for the waiting period. She remarried somebody, I guess. She didn't wait for the waiting period. So what does Islam say about that?
Marriage, the second marriage is not correct. It not exist.
You hear that, sister? This is Sheikh Muhammad S Adly. May Allah bless him. This is a serious thing that you sisters are doing. Okay, go ahead. They can hear you. Go ahead.
It's the right of the first husband, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the waiting period for more than one reason. Possibilities that they may get back again together, possibilities that can be a pregnancy, and all these things have to be taken in consideration. So she could not marry during her waiting period. And if she call it marriage, it's not marriage. So they have to be separated.
Wow. You hear the seriousness, sister? That marriage was not valid because of the same thing I said. He has a right to take you back. So your second marriage is not valid. You and your husband have to separate immediately. Yeah, go ahead.
How they get married? Is there a guardian there? Is there an imam that handles this case, or people do things in their own? Does she have witnesses? How they do marriage?
I don't know. She said that he wanted, now she typed that he wanted to take her back. She refused him and moved on with her life. Astaghfirullah. This is the problem with these new shahada, Sheikh Adly.
This understand information and knowledge comes before action. Not after people do things, they come to ask. They're supposed to learn first about the things, not to rush the things, to ask, and after this they can to act. فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لِذَنْبِكَ. This is what Allah is saying. Get to know first that there is no deity but Allah, and then seeking forgiveness for your sin. So the knowledge always comes in before the action.
Yeah, so her marriage is not valid. Yeah, so she, even though she remarried and moved on, she's living in zina. Astaghfirullah. Okay, that's that question. And then the second thing is, you got my email from the imam, right?
So then I have a
Wait a
question.
minute, hold on, guys. You got my email from the imam, right? Imam Mutawa, about the books, your books for the prison.
I'm not sure. I have to ask my secretary.
Yeah, ask your secretary. Yeah, tell her that I sent her an email back. He wants any books you have that the prison here in Ohio wants some of your books for their library.
Okay, so they need, as example, one each, or they need one book and everybody have his own copy.
Now that he didn't specify. I think one each because it's just for a library. So I would say your stuff is so good, one each.
Yeah, the name and the address of the institution.
I did. I sent that to you. She's got that. The name and address is sent. I gave her that. Yeah. Because Imam Mutaw sent that. So yeah, but he said as soon as you can. They have, I guess they have no book. And of course they trust your stuff. Yeah. Okay, wait a minute, hold on. Another sister. Go ahead, whoever had that question for Sheikh Adly, go ahead.
It's me, Atika. My question is, how long do you have to wait to be remarried again if you just got divorced?
You have to have 3 periods. First period, reading period, menses, and after this you get clean from it, and you take a second one, and after this the third one. So you're talking about almost 3 months before you remarry.
Okay, you got that, sister? 3 menstrual cycles.
Because during this period, he has the right to take you back, even if you don't want to go. So now you're going to ask for first that you don't want to be, but still you could not remarry to the second person until that we make sure that you don't get pregnant and that not anything like this. So
Yeah, subhanAllah. Allah sets these rules, you know, for our betterment. So we know our children know who their fathers are. Plus, it's clean. All of Allah's laws are good and clean. You don't want no question, you know. SubhanAllah.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, Sheikh. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, so I thank you for asking that question. I wanted them to hear it from you because this is I'm getting this question like every other Friday. So it's a big epidemic.
and if anybody else can share this information, found anything that I said is wrong, from correct me or bring you understand the place from where you get the information, and I'll be glad to hear from them.
Alhamdulillah. You guys hear that? Okay. Okay, may Allah bless you, Sheikh. We love you for the sake of Allah and thank you so much. I will, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Okay, that was the Sheikh. He's spoken. That's it. What's up with you new shahadas? I mean, this is like the third question I got like that. You women, you going through marriages, you playing with Islam. You know, whether he consummates the marriage, I'm going to tell you, I know what's going on. You sisters are marrying these men off of YouTube. Get cheap, write this down for me to do a special on this next week. You sisters are meeting with these men off of Facebook. You marrying them on the telephone without consummation. And then you still talking to other men. And then, you know, you make the man divorce you, and then you go and marry some other dude. This is like a prostitute. You sisters are gonna have to stop playing with this religion. You know? We don't play with marriage and divorce in Islam, guys. This is serious. You sisters have got to stop hooking up with men off of Facebook and marrying them on the phone and stuff just to play. Sister, your marriage is not valid. You're just a fornicator. You're just an adulterer. And you better hope Allah don't take your soul for that. Allah doesn't like hanky-panky stanky, guys. Okay, Sister Sarah, if a woman requests a divorce and it is granted, does she need to observe? That's different. If a woman initiates a divorce, it's called a khula, and that's automatic. If a woman initiates a divorce, the marriage is over instantly. She cannot remarry him unless she marries someone else and tastes his sweetness. Okay? But even still, she has to go through a waiting period to determine that she's not pregnant. Even with the khula, she can't just jump and hook up with another dude. You women are playing with fire. You women are coming into Islam and you're bringing a lot of jahiliyyah, which is pre-Islamic behavior with you. And this is bad. You're giving us Muslim women a bad name. Even in a khula, she has to wait at least a month to make sure she's not pregnant before she up and marries somebody else. This is what happens with the internet. This is the dangers of the internet. Allah's laws become blurred like this. Okay, Brother Muhammad. By the way, welcome, Brother Muhammad, mashallah. It's good to see. I think you were new shahada. This is another one of my new shahadas, guys. I got about 100. Yeah, Brother Edward, right? And I got messages too. I got about 100 new shahadas, guys. And you look nice with your beard, Brother Muhammad. Wear your beard. New shahada men, grow your beards. The beard is what differentiates you from a female. And don't let nobody make you think that women don't like beards, because every woman likes a man. not a little girl. Okay? He said, I was told women aren't allowed to wear perfumes outdoors. This is true. This is true. Islam forbids a woman from putting on perfume, not makeup, perfume, because perfume is different. Look at me. I have on kohol. Kohol is makeup. That's all I wear. All I have on is kohol. This is what the Prophet's wives wore, kohol. That's it. So all I did was just put kohol on my eyes. It's nothing. But now, if I put on some perfume and go out the house, ain't no man gonna be, when I walk past a man, he don't know nothing about my eyes, but my perfume will cause him to look and like, oh, that smells good. And that's gonna cause him to take a second, a third, a fourth look. It's haram for women to wear perfume outside the house. In fact, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said any woman that wears perfume outside the house, but every man she passes who smells her, it is as if she's had sexual relations with him. So new Shahada women, no perfume outside the house. But you can wear your makeup as long as your makeup is dignified, okay? Not to extreme, to prostitute or attract attention, okay?
Another question is, how can I build a stronger sense of community with other Muslims, especially if I feel isolated?
Again, this is another question that you don't qualify for. If you're a person that's an introvert, how the heck can you be an extrovert? That's just like saying, how can I give dawah if I don't understand the religion? Okay, so the same thing. You may not can build a community, but you can go find at least one sister to attach to. Or you can do, this is the good of the internet. Instead of using the internet to pick up men and commit adultery with, the internet is a good way of connecting with other Muslims around the world. If you are a person who's isolated, that's why I made this website. I made this website back in 1986 when I moved from my home to another part of the state because of my job. I was cut off from my community. I was cut off from my family. I was the only Muslim in my city. So that's when I designed this website to connect me to other Muslims so I wouldn't be isolated. So that's one good thing about the internet. My Zoom room is open 24 hours. Look at all the sisters I have in there. We are all one big happy family, and we haven't met in real life, all of us. But we connect, we're there for each other. So how can you connect to a community? You may not can build one because you ain't qualified to build a community. You're too introverted, but you can connect to a community right here online. Okay? And Allah knows best. Does that help your answer, Sister Muslima? Does that help? If you're too introverted to go out to the mosque, and the mosque can be scary for a lot of people, then, connect online with people, like the women in my Zoom room, like the sisters here have done. I have a lot of new shahadas who've connected here too, like Sister Atika, who asked that question. She's one of our new shahadas. She's in our Zoom room all the time. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Question is, which books, if any, you'll suggest for a new convert to start with?
Very good question. The books that I am teaching. First of all, Sheikh Muhammad S Adly. That was the sheikh that had just answered the question. Go to his website. Let me type it here. www.adlyonline.com. Go to his website. His books are very, very low in price. Wait a minute, hold on for a second. Hold on. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Morsi. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
Okay, it's been a long time. Was calling you for a question, but alhamdulillah, I couldn't reach you. So, but Sheikh Adly answered it. It was important, but Sheikh Adly answered it. But it's good to hear your voice. How are you? You're okay? MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Okay, so you're gonna be by your phone now if I need you again? Oh, you're going to sleep? Okay. Don't worry about it. I got Sheikh Adly, so he can answer. Yeah. Yes, Sheikh Adly's yeah, he's good. Yeah, he can do it. Okay. All right. Well, inshallah, I'll keep in touch with you. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah, mashallah. That was my teacher, Sheikh Morsi. Okay, he's going to sleep. Oh, yeah. Sheikh Morsi's old now. But yes, go to this website, www.adlyonline.com. All kind of books, the life of the Prophet Muhammad, his description, hadith books, all kind of books for new shahadas. And I'm teaching all of his books here. In fact, for those of you who have children, make sure you order on Amazon the book He Was. That's the book I'm going to be starting tomorrow. Sunday. I'm starting that book Sunday with the kids. And also another book, other books, Kareem Abu Zaid on Amazon. His Akida books, his trilogy. Know Your Lord. And its trilogy. Buy those books on Amazon because that's my Akida class. For my Akida class, I'm teaching Kareem Abu Zaid's books, and everything else is Sheikh Adly's books here. Okay, the hadiths and stuff, and Sirah and all of that. And that's for all the new shahadas. I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of books out there, but I don't recommend them. Because too much stuff has Sufism in it, guys. You know, these are the only two people's books I've used in the whole 30-some years I've been teaching on the internet. I used to just use my PowerPoints, but I'm using Sheikh Adly's books and Kareem's. That's it. Sufism and this other stuff, man. Some of the stuff these brothers put in their books is ridiculous. Hadiths that are not authentic. We don't deal with that. Okay, go ahead.
Question. It is, what does Islam say about a woman cheating on her husband and traveling to different states to have sexual relations with another man whom is also a mother?
You know, these are the new, what do you mean? She's having sex with a man who is a mother?
I believe she meant to say another man, a mother.
Wait a minute, say what?
You go ahead.
First of all, it's haram. We don't have sex out of wedlock. I want you new shahadas to understand, you sisters are Muslims now. What kind of background y'all come from? Prostitution is haram in Islam. We ain't prostitutes. No, we got to clean up. Ain't no sex unless you married. And you have to be married by the laws of Allah, the laws of Islam, not the laws of wherever y'all come from, the hood. You know, we don't just, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, beware of the tasters. Beware of the tasters. Beware of the tasters. Who are the tasters? These are people who marry and divorce just to taste sex. In other words, the prostitute. The skank. You just marrying just to get laid and paid. This is haram. You have to change your lifestyle. When you sisters converted to Islam, did you convert out of sincerity to Allah? Or were you converting just to lay with a man? We don't do that in Islam. There's like Sheikh Adly said, there's laws and rules we have to follow. If a man divorces you, he can take you back. You can't just go and do your thing. And what do you mean you traveling around the world just to get laid and paid? This is a prostitute. And you better hope you don't die that way. Okay, go ahead. Go and finish it up. Go ahead.
He's born Muslim and also a married woman with children.
There's a lot of born Muslims who gonna bust hell wide open. Remember, guys, that hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke about the days of fitan. What are the days of fitan? These are the days in which Islam becomes strange. These are the days which lead to the war against Islam. I keep telling y'all, this is not a war against Gaza. This is not, ain't got nothing to do with Gaza. It really doesn't. And it didn't begin with Gaza. This war began years ago under the Bush administration. It began with Afghanistan. It began with Bosnia. It began with Kuwait, Desert Storm. It began with Iraq. It began with Syria. It's just moved itself to Gaza. It's been in Africa. It's been in the Sudan. It's been all over the place. This is the war against Islam sent by Allah. As a consequence of how we deviated away from the traditional Islam. The Prophet said one of the fitans that will be occurring during that time, sex out of wedlock. He said prostitution, adultery, fornication will be rampant amongst the Muslims. Alcohol, intoxicants, rampant amongst the Muslims. Muslims killing each other, rampant, okay? Islam, my sunnah, he said, my sunnah will become forgotten. My sunnah will become abandoned. We're living in those days. Listen to these questions we get. We got women fornicate, adulterating in the name of Islam. He said the laws of Allah will be transgressed and mocked and made fun of and abused, like you sisters are doing. You just skanks. You women are skank. Okay? This stuff is bad. It's haram. Y'all need to get off the internet playing with men. And you better hope Allah don't send his and gonorrhea to you. What else is her question? Go ahead. And you brothers pay attention. These are the type of women you're hooking up with.
I think that was her full question. So you have another question on YouTube. How do I overcome laziness or distractions when it comes to acts of worship?
Oh, this is a good question. This is what we're speaking about in our Mekositic Tafsir class. Procrastination, laziness. This is a heart that's become hardened. How do you overcome it? First of all, you have to seek knowledge of Allah. As we talked about in that class, when we abandon our faith-filled environment, when we're not learning about Allah, learning about his religion, then of course the obligations become unsensible to us. You're not gonna wanna pray. You're not gonna wanna wear hijab because you don't understand why we pray. You don't understand the virtues of praying, okay? So the number one way to overcome laziness like that is to get up off your rocker and attend these classes here to learn your deen. I want every Muslim listening to me to understand that seeking knowledge is an obligation, just like praying is. Allah is going to ask you why you didn't learn your religion, why you didn't know the basics. Like the question before me, that's a born Muslim. Whoever that woman is, she was born Muslim. But what's the difference between her and a Kafir woman? What's the difference? She doing the same thing they do, just sleeping around.
Question was, I believe you answered it. It was, how do I overcome laziness or distractions when it comes to acts of worship?
Yes, you have to be consistent in learning this religion, guys. Once you understand the purpose of praying, why we pray, the virtues of praying, you know, the benefits of it. That's going to inspire you to want to do it. You have to open that connection in your heart to Allah. Your heart has to be connected to Allah. And if you sisters and brothers are not learning this religion, how can you develop a connection with Allah? Yeah, so we have to do that. Okay, here's another question from Sister Michelle's community. Okay, the woman here has asked the same type of question. She says, Sister Laila, I was married. My marriage was not consummated either. He divorced me. Okay, he divorced her. He divorced me. And then he remarried somebody else. Okay. He never took me back. Is his marriage invalid? No. Men can do that. No. Okay, he divorced you, sister. Okay, he didn't take you back, then your marriage is done. But he can remarry. A man can remarry. He's not, the rules for men are a little different than ours when it comes to that. A man can remarry. He doesn't have to wait for a time period to remarry. He can get married anytime. So it's not the same, sister. And this is why I'm telling you, new shahadas. From the questions you sisters are asking me, and by the way, Geechee, please write that down, precious, that I do a special on this next week. What's happening is you sisters are getting married on the telephone. I see what's going on. Y'all are marrying on the telephone. That's why your marriages are not consummated. And then either you're still talking to other men and you're canceling the marriages like this other sister did, or the brother married you on the phone for whatever reason. Was it a green card? What's the rest to it? Was he out of the country looking for a green card? Did he get his green card and then just leave you? See, you sisters are going to have to do like Sheikh Adly said. You have to investigate. You know, before you new shahadas jump into marriage, you got to learn about the rules of marriage. Where was your guardian? Like Sheikh Adly said, where's your guardian? Did you have a guardian? Was your marriage to him even legal? Who was the guardian? Who were the witnesses? What was the dowry? None of you mentioned anything about a dowry. Did you even have a dowry? I mean, come on. You guys have to get better than this. I got about 100 new shahadas here. And oh my goodness, where, like Sheikh Adly said, where are you guys learning your deen from? Yes, go ahead. Brother Muhammad, let me put his question here. He says, what is the best way I can learn about Allah? What approach should I take? I'm getting told all sorts of things. Okay, Brother Muhammad, what are they telling you? I'm like Sheikh Adly on this now. What are they telling you? Are you at a mosque? What are the brothers at the mosque telling you about how to learn about Allah? What are you hearing? The best way to learn about Allah is find a bona fide qualified teacher first, like Laila. Join my class every day. My 6:30 class is Aqidah, Aqidah, Aqidah. You know, Tawheed, Tawheed, Tawheed. You have to learn Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, the lordship of Allah, and that's what I am teaching. So how can you get to learn about Allah? Join my class, my 6:30 class every day, because that's all that class focuses on. Strengthening your relationship with Allah. You have to learn from the proper sources, but I'm like Sheikh Adly, where are you guys learning from? Who's teaching you? Who are these people that are telling you things? Well, the other sister said that Sufi brother, we know what that problem was. I know some of you coming from Shiite backgrounds too. Yes. Yeah, any questions in there? Precious?
Yes, there's an anonymous question. Sister Laila, I keep asking my father to marry me to a brother. Many in the community have vouched for him, including my 17-year-old son. My son said that he will act as my wali, and so did my younger brother. The only difference between my 17-year-old son and my younger brother is that my son, he practices, and my younger brother doesn't, but he said he will still act as my wali. Also, a few brothers in the community said that they will do my marriage for me. What should I do?
I should have kept Sheikh Adly in here. Friends, no. If I didn't know we get all these marriage questions, I would have kept Sheikh Adly in here. Okay, first of all, sister, there's the hadith that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if a woman who has been previously married comes to you and tells you that she wants to get married, marry her. You're not a virgin. You know yourself. As the Prophet said, she knows herself. You got children. So who was your guardian? Who is it that don't want you to get married? Did she say it was her father?
Her father, yeah, she said.
Well, her father can't make that determination. She can get her brother to marry her. She can have her brother marry her or her uncle, because you're not a virgin. You got grown kids. You got a 17-year-old child. What is your father? Is he crazy? He can't stop you from getting married. Okay, so your father doesn't want to be your guardian, move to the next person. Get your brother to marry you. Or it could be your son, but I would go with my brother next. You know, no man has that type of power. No brother, no father, no uncle, no grandfather has that type of power, especially over a woman who's been previously married. You ain't no virgin. You done already tasted, and I'm sure Sheikh Adly would agree, you tasted the sweetness of life. So who are they to deny you and cause you to end up tasting the hellfire? So you want to get married? Forget your father. Go on to your brother, and Allah knows best. Okay, go ahead. Next question.
Okay, the next question is, what's the best way I can learn about Allah? Oh, wait, I think you answered that one, correct?
Yes.
What approach? Yeah. So far, that's all the questions.
Okay. Michelle's got another question here from the women in her mosque in Atlanta, and the imam's wife sends you her son. Walaikum salam. Habibati. MashaAllah. Yeah, I know that mosque. I'm not going to say their name, but MashaAllah. Okay, go ahead, Michelle. What is it, this one? Okay, this sister says, I know that the hadith says there is no iqamet nor adhan for a woman. But when I am camping with my daughter and my grandkids, and they are all female, is it okay if we call the adhan and the iqamet? This is a good question, yes, as long as there are no men around. And since I know this community, you guys are talking about going to the mountains, right? And renting the cabins like I do. I know this community. Yeah, if you're going to take your kids and your grandkids to the mountains, to the cabins, and you want to lead your granddaughters outside under the Smoky Mountains, you know, we did it one Ramadan together. Yeah. I had my little bad grandkids with me. She had hers too. Exactly. And you want to call the adhan, you know, outside, you can do that because there's no men around. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there is no adhan, there is no iqamet for the woman, that's because it requires beautifying the voice, beautifying your voice, and you don't want to attract attention from some men that can harm you. But if you rent a cabin in the Smokies, like we usually do, I'm gonna do that soon too. And you want to call the Donna and comment with the girls, nothing's wrong with that. And Allah knows best. Okay, Brother Muhammad, the new Shahada, he said, I should start with learning the language of the Quran. Who told you that? Oh, God. See, I should have kept Sheikh Adly here. This is his specialty. His specialty is this Jumat Tabligh people. See, this is what I got. I got a lot of new Shahadas from different, I got some Shiites, I got some Sufis, I got some Salafis, I got all kind of mixtures here. I should have kept Sheikh Adly here. Okay, this brother says he was told that he should start with learning the language of the Quran, but he doesn't agree with this. Why has to be Arabic to know Allah? And that he should go out with Tabligh people knocking on doors. Okay, this is all garbage. I want all you new Shahadas to pay attention. Whenever somebody comes to you and tells you that you have to do something a certain way for a certain reason or for a certain number of times or in a certain manner, they have to bring the dalil. They have to bring the clear evidence where Allah said that. So for the person that told you that you cannot get to know Allah unless you speak Arabic, where's his evidence? Allah says in the Quran, Brother Muhammad, that out of all the prophets, Abraham, he took as a personal friend. Abraham did not speak Arabic. Moses was another prophet. And Moses, Allah spoke directly to him. Moses didn't speak Arabic. Jesus, alayhi salam, Jesus did not speak Arabic. Okay? Where does Allah say that the way to get close to him is by speaking a language? In fact, Allah says in the Quran, and I'm going to give you the interpretation of the meaning. It's not the clothing that you wear. It's not the money that you have. And it's not the language that you speak that brings you close to Allah. It's your consciousness of him, your fear of his punishment, and your love for him that brings you close to him. So anybody that tells you that it's impossible for you to get close to Allah unless you speak Arabic, throw my name up. I'm sure they've heard of me. Tell them, Laila Nashiba does not speak Arabic fluently. So are you saying that Laila Nashiba is not close to Allah? That I don't have a relationship with Allah? I dare somebody to tell me that I ain't got a relationship with my Lord. So that's garbage. That's garbage. The way to get close to Allah is by learning his names, learning his attributes, learning about his lordship. That's what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught. Okay? So don't listen to those brothers. It sounds to me, Brother Muhammad, that you have hooked up with a Sufi group, especially if they're telling you that you have to go knocking on people's doors. That's not true. The Prophet Muhammad did not go knocking on people's doors, trying to get into their house. That we're not Jehovah's Witnesses. We're not the LDS people. We don't do that. That's not Islam. You don't have to do that. Okay, this is crazy.
Okay. You're gonna read it, or you want me to tell you?
Okay, I can see it here. He says, is this your, Jesus is your last name? There's nothing wrong with that if that's your name. That's your name. You can name, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you can name yourself Muhammad or Ahmed, just don't name yourself his kunya. So there's a lot of Muhammads here. One of my stepsons, well, I got several stepsons whose name's Muhammad. Okay, nothing's wrong with that. And if Jesus is your surname, is that your real name? There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with that. I got a brother named Isa, which means Jesus in Arabic. Okay. Yeah, but Brother Muhammad, you need to find a community of Muslims that are upon the correct belief system. Okay, you don't want to be with a community of Muslims that are Sufis telling you to go out. If you can type the state you live, the city and the state you live in, then I can encourage a masjid for you. Inshallah. I usually know some type of mosque in some state. So type what city and state you live in, and I can, send you some masjid. Yeah, this is sad. It's sad. Poor shahadas. Now you guys are feeling so bad because you guys are getting pulled in all different directions, huh? SubhanAllah. Okay, the brother here is typed. He said, yes, Sister Laila, I have not been back to that Shiite mosque anymore. He said, Alhamdulillah, I went to the mosque that you encouraged me to go to. And mashallah, the imam was very welcoming. He knows of you and your website. Yeah, that's why I sent you there. He's Egyptian, brother. He's going to work with you. Yeah. He said he was very kind. He's got a class to teach the new shahadas how to pray. I'm going to it. Good job. And hang out at that mosque with them. Remember, as a Muslim brother, a Muslim man, your blessings are in the mosque. And that imam is good. He's an Egyptian imam. I know of him. And he's pretty cool. He's not into that Sufism, and he definitely ain't no Shiite. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. Here's another question. Yeah, go ahead. Read it.
I was calling my masjid one time for donations. They told me they only have scholarships for Black boys going into the medical field. Are they allowed to do this?
Sister Musima, people can do whatever they want to do, and that's what they do. Okay? But if you're asking me, is racism haram? Of course it is. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke against racism, but this is a mosque. And I'm going to tell you about this mosque. Let me see. I'm looking at her question again. This is what happens, Muslima, when the Muslims in America end up taking financial assistance from the federal government. A mosque is a nonprofit organization. It's a church. And so what this masjid did was, evidently, this masjid is getting money from the federal government to help pay its bills. And whenever you take money and you are a nonprofit organization, I can speak because this is a nonprofit organization. When you take money as a nonprofit organization from the federal government, then you have to abide by their rules, their regulations. Okay? And so maybe that's one of the regulations, that they only have a scholarship for Black boys going to the medical field. I don't like that term, Black boys. I don't like that. I don't like that term. Is that the terminology that the mosque use, Black boys? Does that sound appropriate, Geeky and Layla? Fresno, Anissa?
Definitely not.
That's not appropriate, is it?
No, I don't think so, Nyla.
Scholarships of Black boys. I don't like that. Okay? Find another mosque, Sister Musima. And this is another problem. The racism in these communities. Ooh. Yeah, my next Q&A, I think I'll probably have Sheikh Adly sitting up in here because this is ridiculous. Woo, woo, woo. All right, another question. I didn't know the questions were going to be like this today. I thought they were just going to be basic like they've been. This is marriage and mosque issues. Oh, another marriage question? Go ahead, sister. Here, let's hear your story. What happened? Oh, Brother Muhammad, you're in Melbourne? Oh, mashallah, you're in that's where Brother Muhammad they used to teach on my website, isn't he mine there? You're in Melbourne, Australia. Mashallah. You got some good communities in Australia, Brother Muhammad. I had some brothers used to teach on my website from there. And they're into the good dawah. Sarah, this is another question. Hold on, guys. What does Islam say about a suicide? It's haram. Suicide is haram, haram, haram. You guys see the questions I'm getting today? This is a major sin. If you help a person, remember, Allah says in the Quran, help one another to do what is good. Help each other in good works, not in bad works. So if you assisted somebody to kill themselves, that makes you a murderer. And that means you're going to be in the hellfire with that person. Subhanallah. We don't do that. No suicide in Islam. We don't help each other in bad. We only help each other to do good things. Even for illness. Because Allah said never give up hope. Allah can cause miracles to come from sources you never imagined. Even in a illness, we don't assist nobody. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told one of the companions, never wish death on yourself. Never take your own life. If life becomes too complicated, say, oh Allah, keep me living as long as life is best for me. And oh Allah, take my soul only if death is best for me. But no, we do not take our own life, nor do we assist in doing that. This is a major sin. That's a sin of disbelief. If you die from suicide, you die an unbeliever, and you're going to be in hell forever. There is no coming out. So we don't do that. Okay, it's haram, medically, unmedically. Medically and unmedically. Sister Muslima, if you were diagnosed with the flu, who told you making wudu is going to help your flu? Here we go. What is making wudu doing for you? What makes you think that wudu is going to help your flu? What did Allah say to do when you get sick? What did the Prophet Muhammad say to do when we get sick? Did he tell us to make a wudu? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said sickness comes from Allah. But for every sickness, Allah sends a treatment. So take the treatment. Maybe Allah will give you a cure. So instead of making wudu, what you need to do is take some Tylenol, whatever antibiotics your doctor gave you, whatever breathing medicine your doctor gave you, you better take the medicine your doctor gave you. Making wudu ain't helping you with your sickness. It's probably making you more sick. Okay? We have to understand, guys, sickness comes from Allah, and Allah sends the treatment. There is no cure for the flu, but there's a lot of treatment for it. Antibiotics is a treatment. Those little crystals to stop the coughing, that's a treatment. Tylenol takes the fever, that's a treatment. Take the medicine, like the prophet said. If you're sick, take the medicine. Oh, okay. Okay, now her question is different. She says, she's asking if she can do something else other than making wudu. Wait a minute. Oh, you're saying because you're sick with the flu? No. Because even though you have the flu, you can still make wudu. There is no prayer without wudu. Okay, you have to deal with that. Use hot water. If the cold, thank God you live in America, because you got two faucets. One says H for hot, the other says C for cold. I've had the flu many a days. I still made wudu with hot water. Yep, real easy. Turn the hot water on. Alhamdulillah. Go about your business, girlfriend. Keep it moving. The brother here said, Laila, that was a good one. Yeah, it's a good one. So what? Use hot water and dry your hands off. Thank God you live in America, and dry your hands off, because they don't have that in Gaza or the Sudan where they got that war going on.
Sister Laila, since she's sick like that, can she combine her prayers?
That ain't the question, and that'll probably complicate her. We don't add to it.
Okay.
These people are babies. We don't add to it. What you mean combine? Nope, I ain't confusing these people. Nope. All right. How does Islam differ between mental illness? Oh God, here we go. Let me read this one. How does Islam differentiate between mental illness and spiritual possession? We don't differentiate. If a person is mentally ill, you know it. You want to know how you know it? Because a doctor will diagnose you for that. And you know what else? There's medicine for mental illness. The doctors will give you a medicine. If a person was possessed by a jinn, you wouldn't know it. And it's a total different thing. I worked with the jinn for 36 years. Have you ever seen the movie Exorcist? If you were possessed by a jinn, sister, you'd be blowing bubbles and turning your head around. Okay? So mental illness is not the same as jinn possession. They're separate. Okay? Mental illness, take your medicine. If you don't take your medicine, then your jinn will possess you. But why would you let your jinn possess you? You shouldn't want him to do that. To take your psychotrope. Take your psychotropic drug. Take your hell dog.
Okay, they have a lot of questions. What is the Islamic ruling on DNR to not resuscitate orders for critically ill patients?
We don't believe in DNR because Allah says we try to save a life to the best of our ability. So if you are new shahadas are sick, y'all cannot get orders for DNR. You new shahadas cannot, don't stop. See, I didn't want her to ask that question because now you asking me about combining your prayers and you're going to be mixed up. Y'all stay out of my answer. Because now she's going to be totally confused. I didn't want to go there with you, but yes, you can. See, now then turn into a whole prayer class. Sister Musima, make wudu with hot water. And yes, you can combine your prayers. Okay, and yes, you can sit, but don't start going into all that other stuff with me that's going to confuse you. Go listen to my recordings. And people in Zoom, don't jump in my answers. Because too much information will self-destruct people. Okay, let's see. So, Sister Sarah, you cannot put a DNR order on yourself or on your children or anyone else. You cannot put a DNR order on anyone who is ill. That's haram. This is murder. We don't do that as Muslims. You understand, Sister Sarah? You got that? No suicide, no assisted suicide, and no DNR. Sister Sarah, if you have a sick relative, do you have a sick relative, Sister Sarah? If I can help her this way. Sister Sarah, you got somebody that's sick and they're going through something bad like cancer? Oh, you're a nurse. Okay. Thank you. That's even better. Okay. Now, Sister Sarah, I worked in the health field. I worked for the developmentally disabled for 36 years. That's how I say I dealt with jinn possession and all of that, as you know I have in that field. Whenever I get a client, because my clients were developmentally disabled, sometimes I get a client assigned to my ward who had a DNR. I let all the other nurses and my supervisors know that I'm not honoring no DNR. I let them know that I'm not honoring no DNR. If somebody is dying on my time, on my watch, I'm going to do everything in my power to try to save that life. I just let them know. So you know what they did? Oh, they knew that I meant it. They would take that client to a different ward. They didn't put him on my ward. Yeah. But Sister Sarah, you don't honor that. You don't assist in that. And same thing as a nurse, don't work that department. If they got you in a department of DNR and assisted suicide, you tell them that you can't work that department. You can't work that unit because it contradicts your civil rights. Your civil rights as a Muslim. So tell them to put you on another floor or another ward. Okay?
Islam sticks up for all groups of people. We are here to call injustices wherever we find them and stick up for people regardless of their nationality, their race, or their religion. And again, if you're an immigrant or an African American, you already have it all day from the Zionist media that we're here to oppress you. Now the Islamic community and the intellectuals are saying the exact things, same things to these immigrants. to the Muslim community, to people like myself, which is just, again, completely just disgusting and disingenuous. These elites, as an example, have been tricking whites and mistreating us for centuries. If you look, before there was Africans, there were the peasants in Europe. There were the Irish. There were others. Do these people ever talk about that? Do they need a history lesson also on what happened with the African slave trade with the Arab community? They never want to talk about that. It's always been about, for the elite, getting people to do work and enslave Muslim community, especially in the West, doesn't have any real role models in prominent positions. And we're dying for a role model, for someone who's a leader in a prominent position. And because of that, they'll accept, like for Ilhan Omar, you know, so many sisters who come from Somalia or from other areas, there's someone who looks like me. She's wearing the hijab. She's from a Muslim background. She has the name. So they blindly went and voted for her, dying to have someone who looked like them with an Arabic name or a name that they related to in a government position. The moral issue of slavery was something they could not hold up. You know, they had to move on. And this, of course, is when you saw those great waves of immigration. If we're going to have this conversation, the brush needs to be painted as humanity has a problem, not a particular group of people. It is humanity and the elites that run these societies that are to shoulder the blame for this. And when the reparations should have been paid to those African slaves upon their emancipation, it should have been done by the elites, you know, who were basically profiting off of them. But when you see these elites, they spend so much time and effort funding this division down here, you know, on our level. But yet when you see them fixing their group, you don't see anything. It's here to sow division, to keep us fighting amongst ourselves and not pay attention to who's robbing us all, you know, blind.
It's so important, the discipline, the control of everything. And again, backbiting the tongue. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to teach us there's got to be 50 million hadith, if I'm not exaggerating, about how the tongue is the main organ that's going to get you thrown in the hellfire, I think.
No, Rasulullah, beautiful hadith Rasul, kalima, a statement, take you to the Jannah, and one kalima, statement, book your hellfire. One kalima. Anyway, only statement. With anger, for example, with anger, people, a lot of people go to the masjid here. I'm not going to mention different masjid. Go to the masjid, they for iftar. People waiting to be on, and they insulted each other. They insulted into, oh no, you are this, you are this. Oh, then eat and tarawih and mashallah. And when I say, by the way, whoever doing this, your salah, your fasting is not valid.
Believe it or not, the more gratitude you feel, the more thankful you are, the more happy. It's clearly tied to happiness with life. So it's really cool that when you read the Quran, like I said, science should agree with religion, and religion should be able to be proved in science. And everything in our Quran has been supported and proven so far. It's really cool. The science matches. And that's why I'm saying, with the patience, the piety, remembering that there's something greater. There's no way we created this brain. There's no way we set these rules and this guidance by ourselves. This is not man-made stuff. Atheists are you can't be any more wrong than to be totally disbelieving, right? You can have an incorrect belief, but to be in total disbelief just amazes me, because there's no way we could be the greatest creation out there. We're back to the hypothalamus, because I'm wandering again. The idea is the hypothalamus is sleep-wake, also hugely important, hormone release. The hypothalamus is very involved with measuring how warm or cold we are. If we're too hot, we then sweat. If we get too cold, then it tells the brain and the muscles, that part, it sends that message throughout the brain, and it tells us to shiver. That's what shivering increases the muscular activity, increases blood flow, increases activity, increases body temperature. So the hypothalamus is in charge of that. And what's really cool is that means when we talk about homeostasis, it's not just body function, but it's also mental function. That's why it's Ramadan talks about one of the benefits in the Quran is it teaches us patience. And imagine there's nothing more concerning for the brain and the body than thinking you're starving, thinking you're hungry. Hungry implies starving. That same organ controls appetite. That same organ also controls emotions. That same organ controls sleep-wake cycle. That same organ controls thirst, controls body temperature. That's organ. The hypothalamus is in charge of homeostasis, maintaining normal, comfortable, safe, a living environment. So like I said, when you're setting goals, imagine what takes place here the whole month of Ramadan. And I'll leave the hypothalamus for a second, and then we'll come back to it. Imagine the whole month, I know exactly what time I'm going to get up. When it comes day to day, I will know minute by minute by minute exactly when I have to stop eating, right? So I'll get up, I'll start my eating, I'll know exactly when to stop. I will know hour by hour. One of the big lifetime picture ideas that I like to talk about is achieving heaven, right? And Ramadan was one of those. One of the hugely important things is patience, controlling your emotions, controlling your anger, because things can happen. Some people even get mad at Allah. So with Ramadan, think about what we're doing and goal setting and goal achieving and literally everything with, like I said, with Jannah. If you can learn patience, if you can learn to control your emotions, and like I said, what's really cool about the hypothalamus is it's not just physical control. It's also hugely important to emotional control.
Upcoming class alert. You heard right? We got an upcoming class alert taught by Ustad Laila Shiva. So stay close, because listen, it's going to be good. This series is the series on the gym. You're going to want to listen and take some notes. On all major platforms. Once again, taught by Ustad Laila Shiva. On all major platforms. Channel SunnahFollowers.
All the people come together and say to these board members, we wanted to do this. As long as it's halal, and as long as it's good, and as long as it's going to benefit the community as a whole, I agree. You have to stand up and say, look, man, we pay, we do our money, we pay our zakats, we do what we got to do. We come here, this is our masjid. It's not a board's masjid. It's a people's masjid. It's a community's masjid.
Yes, that's an excellent idea. Go as a community, and the board can do anything.
We have to learn how to really kind of stand together on a lot of the issues that we feel that our kids need. And every community is different, right? Here we have different concerns, and maybe in Texas they have different concerns, in Ohio they have different concerns, maybe in France or whatever there's a lot of different concerns. So you have to know as a community what your main concerns are. And
we have freedom here.
Alhamdulillah, we do.
Yeah.
We do.
And you have in the country, but not in the board and the masjid.
But that's where you take advantage of the freedoms you have in this country.
A group of people can change everything. The whole masjid.
I think the problem that we have, a lot of problems that we have, is when a group of people don't like what happens in that masjid, they say, "Oh, I'm done. I'm going to go open up my own masjid."
It happened.
How many times have you seen that happen?
The key, brother, if you are together, you can face any war.
There's a lot of strength in that.
And the key, so don't give up.
Don't give up.
Be optimistic. Yes, you can do it. Be optimistic.
you have to help the kids with those goals.
You
substitute it, right? Okay, come on, let's help me make the dinner, help me make this, help me in the kitchen, help me. There's things of making your kids kind of, hey, turn it off for a second, come help me real quick. And then 1 second becomes 30 minutes. 30 minutes becomes 1 hour. And guess what? You just spent an hour with your kid without him or her on that tablet.
The thing is, if the parents here was watching us right now, okay, and the parents telling the kids, I want you to stop your cell phone, your iPad, your social media for 1 hour. Turn it off completely. Can we do that?
You got to fill it up with something.
Oh, I like that.
You got to fill up the time. Remember, these kids are very, their attention span is very low, very quick. You got to be really ready to fill that time up. When you have people in your community that are professionals at certain things, professional imam, a professional, a doctor or a professional mental health person, or when you have in your own community these professional people, and as long as they're willing to get up there and share their knowledge and explain things, we have these groups here that we have people that come and talk and educate us on certain things. Why are we not taking advantage of that? I know 100% that there's Muslim guys and girls and men and women out there that are willing to go to a masjid and talk and present about whatever profession they have for free. Because we all as Muslims want to get hasanat. We all as Muslims want to get the good deeds. Yes. When you go to a board and you say, hey, look, man, I have a expertise in depression and anxiety and suicide. And I think we should talk about this. And then you have that old school mindset of the board members, the 5 or 6 board members that say, hey, no.
Yes.
We're not going to talk about that. No, stuff for the law. We don't want that in here, because if you say the word depression, then everybody here is going to become depressed.
Yes.
Allah defines the believing woman as being a woman of dignity. So we have to make sure that we change our character to one that is dignified. And how can we do that? Like I told you guys earlier, by learning about the female companions of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, reading their life story, reading about those women and how they showed dignity in life. Because the Muslim woman, the Muslim wife is a position of dignity and strength, emotional strength. You sisters are gonna have to work on learning how to control your emotion, knowing when to hold and when to fold. Because we all have PMS. You're gonna have PMS until you die. That's how Allah created us. Our emotions go up and down, just like our face. And our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam emphasized the importance of a woman supporting and encouraging her husband. Listen to what he said. He said, if a woman prays her 5 daily prayers and she fasts the month of Ramadan every year and she guards her chastity, that means guard in her husband's absence, what he would have her guard, and she obeys her husband. What does that mean? Obey doesn't mean he tell you to jump up and down and bark. You go, ark, ark, ark. No, you obey him. The things that Allah commanded you to obey him in. If you're doing these things, then you can enter paradise through whatever gate you want. How does a man show love to his wife? By championing her, by protecting her, by making her feel special, making her believe, even if it ain't true. Making her believe that she's the most important thing in this world to him. How many of you brothers do that? Especially you brothers with the 2, 3, 4. Do you make every single one of your wives feel special, feel that she's it? Listen to what the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. He said, the best of you is the one who is best to his family. And I heard all of you. He championed every wife. Every wife will tell you he loved me. And I was important. I was special. That's how you show love to a woman, brothers. And if you're showing a woman love, you'll be surprised at what she'll do for you. Everything we do, be it marriage, be it divorce, be it cooking, cleaning, be it teaching, be it working, providing, maintaining, everything that we do as Muslims is supposed to be done for the sake of Allah, guys, not for the sake of anyone or anything else. Don't ever try to weaponize a woman by telling her that she's supposed to do things to please you, because that ain't true. Allah tells us in a beautiful hadith qudsi that he's not in need of anything that a person does for his sake and someone else. If it ain't done to please Allah, he doesn't accept it. I'm going to obey you in all the things that Allah commanded me to obey you in. And I'm going to respect you. I'm going to make you feel that you are the best man on this planet. But don't get it twisted. I'm doing it because I want Allah to be pleased with me, not you.
Say, oh Muhammad, we believe in Allah. وَبِالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, and believe in the hereafter. But Allah said, وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. Oh, now question here. Let's judge myself. Let's judge myself. Let's judge us. Everybody, look at yourself. I believe in Allah. Yes. I believe in the hereafter. Yes. The question here, do I really follow what Allah said to prepare myself to the hereafter for good ending, husn al-khatimah, or just believe? Ramadan very soon coming. I prepare for Ramadan. I'm preparing what? So, oh Muhammad, don't leave those people. They are not believing. إذا كفروا سواء عليهم أنذرتهم, you tell them the truth, or not believe in the truth, they are not going to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not believe in Allah. But our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he never give up. He try and try and try. He do best of the best. They insult Rasulullah. They accuse Rasulullah is the magician. They accuse Rasulullah of adultery. Accuse Rasulullah is more and more and more and more. But still, he want to give the message to everybody. And when his wife, beautiful wife, Khadija died, and his uncle Abu Talib died, and now no support. No support, but Allah Kareem. Now, the ayah again, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Kafaru here, you pay attention to this ayah, for the disbelief in Allah, and also munafiqeen, the ayat after that. The munafiq have signs, 3 signs, another hadith 4 signs. The munafiq, hypocrite. Number 1, the munafiq, إذا حدث كذب. If he speak, he make lies. This ayah here, بما كانوا يكذبون, because he's munafiq. إذا حدث كذب. If he speak, he seems that lies. غدر. If he done a promise, and he betrayed the promise, he's munafiq. Especially husband and wife. When you get married, they did a guardian and the man and a dowry, and they said the 2 witnesses, and they said together, I want to marry her, you marry him, and witnesses, and who's promise with whom? Not the 2 witnesses and the guardian, Allah. That the promise, husband and wife, is a promise marriage. We're connected to each other, husband and wife.
Saudi Arabia with Agenda 2030. They now have these resorts and all these places where the Western women come. They're in their bikinis and all their things out there. It's just getting to be unrecognizable. They're now competing with Dubai for the tallest building in the world. They just recently opened up Western investment into Mecca. What do you think they're going to build there? What do you think they're going to want to build there? They're going to bring the disease right outside the Masjid al-Haram. You see all the brands. When I was in Mecca the first time, there was Paris Hilton stuff inside the mall. It's already there. It's only getting worse. You know, you have the Hajj and all of our sacred religious rites being turned into basically an amusement park. It's Muslim 2.0. You see pictures from Europe in particularly. Muslim youth are doing all these different gang songs, you know, emulating rappers and rap culture, you know, just emulating every aspect of even the worst, you know, of the West. Not even imitating the good things, or at least slightly good things from the West, but taking the bottom of the barrel, listening to rap music, listening and consuming all forms of Western music, whether it be rock or rap. It's all haram when you break down the lyrics and you look at the people who are producing it, the record labels that are behind them that are producing it. So again, the question comes is, how did this start? Where did it come from? Well, I'm going to introduce you to one of the many of these sinister organizations that works globalist, if you will, known as the RAND Corporation. The RAND Corporation is a nonpartisan research organization that focuses on developing solutions to public policy challenges by conducting rigorous analysis and research on issues like security, health, education, stability, aiming to improve policy and decision-making across various sectors. When you saw someone convert to Islam over time, you saw a change. His actions, the way he speaks, the way he talks. He's not eating bad food anymore. He's not drinking alcohol. I could be a heavy I don't drink alcohol. I used to smoke heavily. Don't smoke anymore. There's obviously those physical changes that show in those behaviors. And then there's also, of course, the very small, subtle ones. You know, God's laws in this culture have been stripped of all meaning. Now, albeit Christianity is a little bit different than Islam in the sense that Christianity has that wiggle room that allows you to do this. Simply say, well, Jesus died for me. It's okay. You know, Jesus died for me on the cross. That's the atonement for my sins. My sins are paid. I can keep sinning. You know, they'll tell you if you're a Catholic or Orthodox, right? Oh, that's not true. But that's heavily the understanding of the majority. Because I was on about a 2-3 year run where I didn't miss a single prayer. And then I got to a weekend and there was something going on and I was out and, oh, you should make it up. So good to you. And there goes. You missed the door of prayer. You're going to buy it later and make it up. And then what happens is the next day, that excuse, you've already set the precedent that it is acceptable to miss that prayer. So now it's much easier for the whisper to work the second and the third time. And what I noticed was that in 2 to 3 months, after missing just this one salah, I wasn't praying at all. I completely abandoned the salah. And it wasn't because I wasn't a believer. It was because I had gotten so accustomed and lazy in my beliefs. This is not really that big of a deal. And I caught myself, alhamdulillah, and brought myself, back, to it. When I first went to Saudi Arabia, like most Americans, never really left, the West, but went to Saudi Arabia. We were going to see no Western influence at all. We were to see what Islam produces. As I'm crossing that bridge, I'll never forget it. As you're going up toward the customs, the first thing I saw was not a masjid. It was not some Arabic writing. It wasn't La ilaha illallah. What was it? The golden arches. There was the McDonald's arches piercing the sky. You saw around it Starbucks, numerous other, and I'm just saying to myself, what in the world is going on here? I was shocked. This was colonialism in full effect. They are transforming the culture, doing irreversible, irreparable damage to the psyche of the people. Colonialism didn't stole the resources. This is something, You can argue much worse. This is spiritual.
There is no way that now all of a sudden, Genesis, what did we say? Sarah gave in the Genesis, Sarah gave Hagar as a wife. All of a sudden, now that's not important, right? That's what you're telling me. Clearly, Ishmael is there at the circumcision. Everyone in Abraham's house, every male is circumcised. And all of the circumcisions acknowledge the covenant and its acceptance. And now all of a sudden, just because Deuteronomy was written later, no one acknowledged the firstborn. I read you the firstborn. I'm going to go back and double down. Genesis 43:33, before Deuteronomy, yes? 43:33. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth, before Deuteronomy. Let's confirm that Hagar was a wife, and we remove all that marital argument silliness stuff. Genesis 16:2 and 3. And Sarah said, and Sarah said unto Abraham, behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. This is Sarah. And Abraham hearkened, listened to the voice of his wife, to the voice of Sarah. And Sarah, Abraham's wife, took Hagar, her maid the Egyptian, after Abraham had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abraham to be his wife. We've got legitimacy in marriage. We've got the right of the firstborn ordered by God. Then we come over to the circumcision, and all of these guys, and Abraham took Ishmael, his son, and Ishmael, his son, was 13 when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. We're done. Ishmael is a legitimate heir. Ishmael has religious importance. We confirm that. Ishmael there's some prophethood that should come from his lineage. We confirm that also. Why do you think the Jews were in Medina at the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Again, I mention it all the time. They weren't there because it was great farmland. Yes, the dates and everything that we know about. But the idea is they were expecting a prophet from that area. They were expecting it. Their scholars were expecting it. Their leadership were expecting it. They were raised looking for that prophet. But he didn't come from them, so they fought against it. Allah knows best. You've got a 13-year-old agreeing to a circumcision. You've got a 90-year-old father, 90-plus-year-old father agreeing to a circumcision, or in that area. And you've got all these other men agreeing, and this seals the covenant. Now, all of a sudden, because Ishmael was born before the covenant, his circumcision doesn't count, and his covenant isn't honored, which is nonsense. And if there is no logic, let's go back to a brain talk and understand one of Malillo's big three, the three B's, right? One of them is bias. These cats are biased against Ishmael, which means because the right of the firstborn is ordered by God, because Sarah, Hagar, and Ibrahim alayhi salam are all in a legitimate confirmed marriage. It's a family. If you disagree with the marriage of Hagar, if you disagree with the right of the firstborn, and you disagree with the circumcision, you are disagreeing with what is ordered by the biblical God. It's done. Ramadan is coming up, and Ramadan is a great training month for achieving goals. It's a great training month. And if you have a pen and paper, write down times, as I mentioned, times, and put your stuff there or match it to a time. This is hugely important for everyone. What you're going to do is, I start my tomorrow today. What I'm going to do is plan my Juma, my Friday. Now, the first thing you want to do is, literally, as silly as this sounds, write down 24 hours. You know what time you're going to get up. So I'm going to start with 6 a.m. for me, okay? So now I'm writing 6 a.m. That's when my awake day starts.
That who started, brother and sister, Shia, the Shia, those, not the Shia of Iran, is worse than those people in Iran. People, they stole the black stone from the Kaaba. They stole it. And then they occupied Egypt and the Middle East in that time, include Mecca. And they started to worship, to imitate what? The Christian and Jews. But as a Muslim, we should not do that because never happened. No one celebrated, no Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sahaba never done it. Never done it, should not do that. Is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the Sahaba, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, and Umar, and Uthman, and Ali, and the most beautiful wife of Rasulullah, Aisha, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And those companions, is Rasulullah celebrate that day 27? Is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam celebrate 27 of Rajab as Isra or the Sahaba? The answer, no. Okay, no problem with that. Okay, is that 27? Is that it was 27 Rasulullah migrate from Mecca to Palestine? In fact, believe it or not, some about the history, some people in not even in not the Rajab. Isra, Al-Isra, a lot of people today, actually, when I was in a conference Saturday, they asked me, oh, Sheikh Ibrahim, are you fasting? Actually, I don't know about the Isra. And I said, of course, it's Monday. I'm fasting. I said, no, you're fasting because of Isra. Oh, my Rabbi. Say, no, I'm not because of Isra. The Sunnah, Monday, the Sunnah. Not because it's 27th of Rajab. There is no hadith to fast in Rajab. Okay? There are certain hadith, but yes, you can fast Monday and Thursday and 13 and 14 and 15 of the month, no problem. But not 27th of Rajab. Rasulullah never done it.
One of the means also reading the stories of the prophets, not only the Prophet Muhammad, okay, and the Salihin, the righteous, because they are a human being like us, okay, these righteous people, okay, and how that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made miracles happen on their hands, or how Allah eased their burden. We need to learn about those Tabi'een and after Tabi'een and all the righteous people still, alhamdulillah, in the dunya. Because these things going to make us get in the thabat and the firmness in the deen. The Muslims have to be well acquainted, he or she, about things that can make you sleep. The snow, clean the snow from in front of your yard before you step outside, before your wife, before the children come out and can break their neck. It's danger, okay? And we have your nafs, you have the shaitan, you have the dunya. How? You understand? You're surrounding with all these enemies. And all this can be a cause of fitna, trial, temptation, taking you out of Islam, or maybe you understand, we'll go to the mosque in Jum'ah, and after this, bye-bye mosque, see you next week. Okay? And this is a basically relationship between you. But to understand about the fitna will come for you to be firm, to be hard, okay? On the sirat al-mustaqim. You want to stay on Islam. فَإِذَا أَحْبَبْتُهُ, if I love him, Allah saying, when you do this nafilah, and now I love you, what I'm going to do? I will be your eyes that you see with. I'll be your ears with you. That means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would put insurance, ilahi insurance in your eyes, in your ears, in everything in your body. So now you are not looking to anything that you are not supposed to look. You are not listening to anything that you are not supposed to be listening. Your hand is not going to, you understand, pushing somebody that you are not. Why? Because now. So we have to do the things which is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to make us staying. So it's not to understand that I don't want run away from Islam. No, to be firm in the deen, we need continuously, voluntarily work to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلبي على دينك. One who flips the hearts, turns the hearts from side to side, from way to way. Keep my heart firm in your deen. This is something is very important. How many people they made Hajj and something come, some business, some money, some women, some shahwa, something, and it can take you, and sometimes maybe you come back, maybe do not. So we have two problems here that we're talking about, and both of them are danger for your deen. Okay? إن قلوب العباد بين إصبعين من أصابع الرحمن يقلبها كيف يشاء. That hearts of mankind, all mankind, between two fingers of Allah's fingers, that He twisted whatever that He wants. And when Allah do something, لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون. Allah is just and fair regardless whatever.
So once a person dies, that's it. You're no longer a part of this world. You are now part of the hereafter. So punishment begins then. Once the angel of death pulls your soul, your punishment begins. And he's going to let you know if you're going to hell. And he's going to carry your soul up and have it written in the book for the people of hell. And then he's going to drop you down into your body. And it's going to be a painful long drop. Okay? And then whatever sins you died upon, you will be punished for them while you are in that grave. This sister here from out of Los Angeles, that's where Allah got the fire at. She's back right now. She still wants to argue. She still does not believe that Allah said a woman cannot lead a man in prayer. She sits here saying that she does not believe Allah said it. And then when you show her the proof, what she says, she don't believe it came from Allah. She believes some man wrote it. That's rejection. That's denial. That's disbelief. So people like that, you can't do anything with. You just have to just, like I'm doing her, ignore her. I'm not going to entertain her. I'm not going to entertain you today, sister. You keep on leading prayer and see where it's going to get you. That's all I can tell you. And Allah knows best. Remember, only Allah has the authority to make anything lawful or unlawful. So if a person tells you that you cannot pray in the bathroom, that means that they have to bring the verse from the Quran where Allah says, thou shalt not pray in the bathroom. Or they have to bring the hadith from the Prophet Muhammad that says, thou shalt not pray in a bathroom. There is no such verses anywhere on planet Earth. So that's how you shut those people down. Most Muslims today lie on Allah. Why do y'all think this war is here? Help with the distraction. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when you raise the hands and lower them, you are pushing shaitan away. The finger, when you raise the finger up, it becomes like an iron bar. Okay? When you say subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, you know, that makes your chin go sit back in the corner. So just do the sunnah actions. That'll help with your distraction. Also, make sure that you pray in a room that doesn't have the distraction. Pray in your bedroom. Close the door to your bedroom. You get more reward as a Muslim woman praying in your bedroom anyway. Close the door, close the windows, turn off the television, and that'll help with your distraction. No, there are no time frames in Islam, guys. Once you declare La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, you are now obligated to practice the religion immediately. In fact, after you declare La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, the first thing you should do is make whatever prayer is in. You have to start praying immediately. You have to start covering your body immediately. If you are a Muslim woman, you have to start wearing hijab and abaya whenever you leave the house immediately. You have to stop smoking cigarettes immediately. There's no grace period in Islam. You are a Muslim now. And so you have to practice this religion as soon as you declare your shahada. And Allah knows best.
It's classic divide and conquer, and the irresponsible media has no filter whatsoever. They did this intentionally, trying to get the British to hate the Muslims to hate the British, and then you see that all around a guy who had no business being in the country in the first place, who was not even Muslim, all based on a lie. The British government, they're bringing them in that they know are bad news. They're enabling them, they're giving them money, they're giving them homes, the police are covering for them, the media is covering for them, and they're doing all this to their own people. The British people and the Muslim community both are victims of this terrorist state going on in there. How are these men getting in? Look at the NGOs, the non-government organizations. They bring them in. So imagine if you made zina, adultery, illegal in the society. How many businesses are based in this country or in Europe on adultery? Bars, nightclubs, pornography, even the strip clubs, obviously. So much of the industries are based on people committing zina. It's big business. These places like nightclubs would cease to exist if we had decency laws. When you look at riba, the financial institutions, all are based on riba. Whether you want to buy a car or a home, how many billions and billions of dollars they make annually in collecting riba and keeping us as debt slaves, all would cease to exist. Their drive to promote the LGBTQ, to further break down the family and lower the birth rates for their population reduction dream. Just as an example, we saw a British woman recently. She had intimate relations with 100 men, 100 men in 12 hours. He was immediately topped by a woman who said, I'll do better than you, came and did 1,000 in 24 hours. The first one had stole her idea, and she wanted to show her how it's done. Now, in Islam, we have a saying about competing with each other for the best of deeds, competing each other in charity, in kindness, in prayer, in fasting. You know, this is how these women are competing indeed. They are competing with who can fornicate with the most men in a period of time. Racial stereotypes harm us all. No matter what group you've been racially stereotyped at one point in time or another. Some, may, if you're African American, oh, you're all criminals. If you're white, you're rich, racist, you got white privilege, you're trying to oppress everybody. If you're this group, you're a rapist, if you're that group. Now, the Muslim community, what did they do during all this period of time of 20 years? Well, the Muslim community pretty much was silent, on this, which again fanned the flames. Nations just simply came out and publicly said, we condemn this behavior. And it's irresponsible from this media to constantly put a Muslim on trial for something that's not even our religion, because a member of our religion, at least in name only. No other community on this earth has to deal with this. I lived in the Arabian Gulf for over 10 years. I can personally attest to safety, and I did see some corruption there, but in terms of safety and crime, you can't beat it. You could lay on a street park bench in the middle of Saudi Arabia with a stack of money on your chest. I don't believe you'd honestly be robbed. In America, you could walk around 5 minutes, 5 seconds in certain parts. Not only would you be robbed, you'd be shot, as well. I talked even to Westerners during my time period over there. And one of the reasons they said they never wanted to leave was because of the safety. So if all of these racial groups of people, the Pakistani, the Arab, the Muslim in general, are so violent and so prone to rape, why then in a country where they comprise 80 to 90% of the demographics, are we not seeing this same type of behavior?
There is hadith that encouraging us to read Surah Al-Kawthar. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, radiyallahu tabarak wa ta'ala anhu, it's been reported that he said the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he used to make with the prayer with 9 chapters. He reads in the first rak'ah, Al-Hakum al-Takathur. And he reads in the second and the first rak'ah, he reads إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ سُورَةُ الزَّلْزَلَةِ. That's in the first rak'ah. In the second rak'ah, he used to read وَالْعَصْرِ and Surah Al-Nasr إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ and إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرَ. Al-Hasan al-Basri, may Allah be pleased with him, he said, Al-Kawthar is Al-Quran. Al-Kawthar meaning that the easiness of our deen and how light it is, and how anything you do, Allah will accept.